The internet has a wide array of fan bases, communities that have the potential to make and share really cool stuff. But sometimes these communities take things a little too far. I comprised a list of the most notorious fan bases, whether they've been cringy, toxic, or just straight up harassed people. They're on this list. Here's all the ones I'm gonna talk about. You can pause if you want. I want to find out which ones are actually terrible and which ones might not be as bad as they seem. The ultimate goal is to find the worst one out of all of them. To do this, I'm gonna be using my scale of 1 to 5 ranking system that I'm calling the Stinko-meter. You know, because sometimes fan bases... a 1 out of 5 is mostly harmless, maybe a little cringe. 2 out of 5 is cringe and maybe toxic, but could be worse. 3 out of 5 is cringe and also a lot of toxicity. 4 out of 5 is pretty awful and at least one big controversy. And 5 out of 5 is reserved for the fandoms with the most insane controversies. All right, I'm gonna start. I know my hair is significantly longer, but it is because I have magical hair growing abilities. You're just jealous. The first show I'm going to talk about is Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty was kind of the face of cringe culture for a bit there, especially with the McDonald's Szechuan sauce stuff. That one video of the guy on the counter saying the stuff with the is so weird. Also, there's some really weird incest shipping between Rick and Morty in the fandom. They also tend to idolize Rick when he's kind of a cautionary tale. He's not portrayed like a good dude, but a lot of the people in the fandom are like, oh, he's so cool and awesome. On the Stinko-meter, I give this show a 3 out of 5 because it is pretty stinky, but nothing too crazy. As far as I know, there weren't any like death threats or just bad stuff. It's really just being cringe and lame. So yeah, next one, Steven Universe. This one's a little worse. It's significantly worse, actually. With Steven Universe, there were some public controversies regarding death threats. Heavy topics incoming, so just be prepared. I'm reading this straight from fan lore, which is like Wikipedia, but for fan bases. In 2015, an artist, Zami, attempted suicide after she was bullied through Tumblr and other social media because of how some perceived her art to be fat-phobic and racist, which it wasn't. Maybe I could find the fan art and putting on screen. It's just, I think she drew the character with a skinnier waist, and then people freaked out. There's also a storyboard artist and writer, Lauren Zook, that was harassed because some fans didn't like the ship that the artist supported. That's so weird to me. There was also a child with cancer who, as a Make-A-Wish, got Steven Universe spoilers, and there was a YouTuber that harassed the child with cancer. The fan base was upset about this one, so harassing a child with cancer is too far, but harassing a storyboard artist isn't, and harassing a fan artist to the point where she almost commits suicide, those are fine. Harassment is okay, unless the person is a child with cancer. I'm giving this one a 5 out of 5. This is crazy. Okay, moving on. Undertale. Okay, so this one isn't that bad, honestly. Apparently in the past, the fan base was just a little toxic. They were a little annoying. Nothing like the Steven Universe stuff from what I found. So within the fan base, there was like an anti-shipping movement. Like, people were getting really upset that they were shipping the characters, which, like, that's a fan base thing. That's what fan bases do. They ship people. I've played Undertale. It's a good game. Good game, weird fan base. There's also fans that defend, like, one of the villains from the game, Chara. And then there was some hate towards, like, fan games. It seems kind of like just, at this point, normal fan base stuff. And in this day and age, the Undertale fan base is a lot better. Yeah, this one isn't that bad. I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5. Okay, moving on. Genshin Impact, which I have not played. Ever. Apparently there were a lot of leaks. One of the things that can be kind of problematic about the game is how it's a gacha game, which is like gambling. And some of the fans kind of hate that aspect of it, and some are hopelessly addicted to it. The community is kind of notorious for leaking different like characters early, and the developers don't like that. Which makes sense. Also, there was an anniversary reward stream that apparently the fans weren't happy with the rewards. It doesn't look like there was any major harassment regarding that, but there was just a lot of review bombing and just negative conversing regarding it. But from what I've seen, it doesn't look like there's any major harassment issues regarding Genshin Impact. So I have a feeling this one isn't that bad. I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5 on the Stinkometer. Five Nights at Freddy's has a very interesting fandom. My dogs are kind of terrified of the cords I'm using, so they're just kind of sitting there in front of the cords, like procrastinating approaching me. What are we talking about? Five Nights at Freddy's. So Five Nights at Freddy's, probably one of the biggest controversies regarding Five Nights at Freddy's is Scott Cawthon, the creator of the game, his political donations. Apparently he donated to conservative Republican candidates such as Donald Trump and Devin Nunes, and there were a lot of people upset about that. Lots of people harassed him, got a little angry. He had to make a whole post on the Five Nights at Freddy's Reddit to defend himself. Like, there was a lot of backlash to this. A lot of people didn't like it. Anyways, that whole thing was crazy. Weird fan behavior, I guess, just like sexualizing the characters, as any fan base does. Especially Chica. That part doesn't surprise me at all. I think the whole political donations thing is mostly just funny, and I think any fandom would freak out like that. Unless the fandom is Donald Trump's fandom. I think sometimes people just take things too far. You don't need to harass people when they do stuff you don't agree with. You don't need to be like, I can't believe you would do this. The only other thing listed on the fan lore wiki is someone created an AU that named the purple guy, which is the villain in the game. And apparently it being canon was like point of contention within the fandom. That's kind of trivial though. I think the Five Nights at Freddy's fandom, while harassing the creator of the game, is not cool and not awesome. I don't even really like sparkling water that much. The fan base isn't that bad. I'm feeling a 3 again. Moving on. Okay, finally we're talking about a more relevant fan base. That was really bad. I can't wait to hear that in editing and then cut it out. The Amazing Digital Circus, which if I make this video in a decent amount of time, the final episode is airing soon. So I like this show, and there are some really weird fans, and I got to see it firsthand because I've been a fan of this show since pretty much the first episode. This fan base is weird. Harassment? Big time. Big time harassers. Fans ask bizarre things at conventions to like the voice actors. Like one fan asked Michael Kovac, the voice actor for Jax the Rabbit, if he would marry them.
Michael Kovac, will you marry me?
It's just really, really embarrassing that someone would actually do that. There were a bunch of fans that were harassing the creator of the show, Gooseworks, because she chose to focus on some characters more than other characters. That's so wild to me, to be like, no, you can't focus on Jackson Pomni. I like Ragathon. And the reaction to the final episode airing in theaters 2 weeks before the actual release, I got to see firsthand. The main reaction was that people were going to spoil it, which sucks. And there were lots of jokes about Digital Circus fans being stinky and how the theater's going to stink or whatever. It might, I don't know. I'm not going to watch it in theaters. I'm going to wait. There's lots of people involved with the show, like the voice actors that like speak up whenever something weird is happening. It's unfortunate because it's a good show with cool people working on it. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5 because I've experienced this stuff firsthand, and it's not the best fandom in the world. All right, moving on. Sonic the Hedgehog. From what I've seen, this fan base is just really passionate about Sonic to the point where it's a little bit weird, but I haven't really seen any super offensive behavior from the Sonic fan base. One of the funnier things is how many different original characters there are. There's a surprising amount, and they seem kind of overly nostalgic for some of the older games, but I haven't really seen anything crazy. Besides being a little obnoxious, this fandom is pretty harmless, especially in its current state. 1 out of 5. This next one's kind of scary to talk about on the internet, but Taylor Swift. Swifties. Many Swifties have displayed insane cult-like behavior. Lots of threats, death threats. There was a Meat Canyon video that parodied Taylor Swift, and he got so many threats, so many death threats. It was ridiculous. Also, apparently the mentality that a lot of them have is just consume, consume. And if you don't love the new album, you're not a real Swiftie. So a lot of these Swifties have kind of a very cult-like mentality, mob-like kind of. And that's why so many Swifties attacked a parody animator. And then that one video of them all dancing in a circle in a theater. It's really creepy. I'm gonna give this one a 4. It's actually quite scary. Okay, we got another stinker. My Hero Academia. People get really obsessed with the characters in this show. Lots of shipping and stuff, which would be normal, but some people have taken it a bit too far. There are ships where they ship children with adults, which is crazy. And there were people sending the creator of the show death threats because he didn't make their ships canon. So this one's either a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5 because the offenses are pretty much the same as the Taylor Swift one. I'm feeling a 4. Bronies, which is adult My Little Pony fans. The stereotype is that they're creeps that are sexually attracted to the ponies, which some of them are, but from what I've seen, for the most part, they're pretty normal. The fan lore brony page, one of the first things they list is common misconceptions. Some of the bronies are women. They're not all creepy dudes. And yeah, some of them are weird. Those are the ones that you think of when you think of bronies. But the majority, like the huge majority, is very normal. I'm feeling a 1 on this one. Dream, the YouTuber. Throughout his whole career, there's been a lot of stan culture surrounding him. Obviously, it's way less crazy than it was. Just people really, really obsessed with the guy. And he has kind of a weird relationship with the fans. Like, you can tell the guy hasn't gotten a lick of media training. Which all that's weird, and obviously there have been a ton of controversies with Dream himself. But when it comes to fan reactions, I think the reactions to the face reveal were a little over the top. People were so mean. I mean, the face reveal is a little rough. It's a little cringy. I'm not gonna... why is he holding his angle? Hey guy. But people were just so mean. Comparing him to that guy from Shrek and like other cartoon characters and just saying he was ugly, he looks normal. He's a normal looking guy. He's not like Hollywood, like attractive male, but he just looks like a guy. Obviously this was from years ago. I'm bringing up years old drama. I guess the shipping stuff was kind of weird between him and like George Not Found, but that wasn't that bad. This video is so chronically online. I feel so chronically online making this video. I'm feeling like a 3 on this one. Star Wars. This one's a similar situation to the other less crazy fandoms, where the crazy ones are a minority, but they're very loud and annoying. They're overly critical of like the sequel trilogy and a lot of the newer stuff, and just like really nostalgic for the older stuff. All the new stuff is bad except for Rogue One and Andor. Those are fine. I'm feeling like a 2 on this one because I've had personal experiences where like I had a Star Wars fan freak out on me because I didn't hate the anime, the Star Wars anime on Disney Plus. I was like, I thought it was all right, and they were like, no, how dare you? It was the weirdest reaction ever. So purely because of that personal thing, it's a 2. The Loud House. I haven't seen The Loud House, but I know Timmy Turner has a lot of sisters, so weirdos on the internet are gonna be weirdos on the internet. Lots of incest. Great. Just what I wanted to talk about. Apparently there's a campaign against aging up the characters. I don't know the motivation, but it sounds really weird, and my assumption is not good. Also, the creator of the show has allegations against him for sexual harassment, which is awesome. That doesn't have anything to do with the fan base. I'm feeling like a 3 because incest. Okay, Has Been Hotel. I haven't seen this, but from what I've seen, it's more death threat stuff regarding shipping. Why is it always that? How dare you ship these characters? How dare you not put this ship in the show? Very strange behavior, but yeah, lots of bullying and death threats regarding shipping stuff. Talking about this is pretty much just going to be going over the stuff that I've talked about already. So 5 death threats, 5, just instant 5. Okay, this last one isn't commonly regarded as a toxic fan base. It's just my personal experience with it hasn't been the greatest. Stranger Things. Yep. My most popular video. Again, with the shipping stuff, people take that really seriously, and I mentioned the Byler ship. Kind of just like, well, they hinted at this and then they didn't do it. kind of weird from like a writing perspective. And then people were like, I can't believe you would mention that. You're a Byler shipper. You're delusional. And then all the conformity gate stuff, that was crazy. From a reputation perspective, that's just such a bad idea to be like, oh, we're gonna do a bad ending and then we're gonna do the good ending later. Like, no. No, why would they do that? The second I heard that, I was like, oh, people are in the first stage of grief. Denial. That must have sucked, being the creators of the show and seeing that and be like, oh, they liked it so little that they are making conspiracy theories. This fan base is like a 2. It's not that bad. I just wanted to talk about that really quick. All right, okay, that's all the fan bases. I think the worst one is probably gonna be Steven Universe. It's a very close tie between Steven Universe, Swifties, The Amazing Digital Circus, and My Hero Academia. Those are the ones that I'm like, yikes. But from the listed offenses, Steven Universe probably takes the cake. So yeah, thank you for watching. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like the video, there's a bunch of things you can do that you have heard 1 million times if you've been on YouTube before. Alright, I'm gonna go now. Thank you for watching my video. In it, Governor. Blood.